eNEWS, how Lethbridge College is on the cutting edge of teaching use of a new media technology. How a collaborative mock disaster on campus sets the stage for a lifetime of careers. And how a 35-year-old group offers a medieval take on public gatherings.
Hello and welcome to eNEWS. I'm Houston Geringer.
And I'm December Burgess, and here's today's top story. Stress is building at Lethbridge College. Students find themselves with less than a month left in the school year and an overflowing amount of homework. Many are struggling to balance their school, work, and home lives as finals emerge and graduation is on the horizon. I talked to some Lethbridge College students to find out how they're coping. Filing in and out of Buchanan Library, Lethbridge College students are talking one another's ear off and spending their evenings finishing up assignments before the year comes to an end. One Lethbridge College and University of Lethbridge student has dealt with the stress that relates to student life for 3 years. She says self-care is one of the most important steps to reducing stress in the face of approaching exams and final projects.
I feel like if someone needs to cry, I feel like crying is a very good way to get rid of emotions and you feel a lot of relief afterwards.
Omani may be onto something. According to a survey conducted by the Canadian Organization of University and College Health, almost 90% of students feel overwhelmed by all that was expected of them. 63% of students felt hopeless or lonely throughout their post-secondary education, and 55% of students have more than school to focus on. Many students ignore their need for self-care and let their stresses pile up. This is one of the leading causes for mental illness among young Canadians.
There's a lot of components and it's all at once and it's all in a short time. Like I would say we do more in the last 2 to 3 weeks of semester than we almost do all year.
Lethbridge College students struggling with stress can visit Chappelle Services for free counseling and advice, and take further comfort in the knowledge that the finish line is just around the corner. For eNEWS, I'm December Burgess. The Lethbridge College Students Association is hosting a stress smash for anyone wanting to ease academic frustration. It'll happen April 11th at the Trades Building.
With the summer months creeping up, southern Alberta farmers are preparing for their busiest time of the year. This process has evolved exponentially with the added uses of technology within the industry. Farming Smarter's Louis Barta says the farmers need to keep up with what's newest and most innovative in order to stay ahead. According to Stats Canada, fewer than 1% of Canadian population has ties to agriculture. This has been dropping steadily since 2006, but despite this, the industry stays rich. Barta says that he has the answer to this puzzle.
Really what it is farms are getting bigger. We've got bigger equipment, larger scale operations, so it sort of squeezes out the smaller operators, right? So as everything gets bigger, there's less space for more people to be a part of it.
Lethbridge College is focusing on technology with a new agriculture enterprise management program to help encourage students to stay on top of what's new.
The world of 360-degree video and virtual reality is gaining momentum. These newer storytelling mediums are being studied to see where they fit in the industry. Lethbridge College has been given the chance to study and explore the world of 360 and VR with some of their students. Digital communications and media students have been experimenting with 360 video and the pros and cons of creating content on this platform. David Sellis is standing by with more on this story. David?
With 360-degree video and VR becoming more popular in the news and storytelling industries, studies are being done to ensure that people are getting the most out of this new platform.
Right? Now if you go look a little more to your left.
So it's Los Angeles.
The world of virtual reality and 360-degree video has started garnering more attention across the globe. Even politicians are starting to show interest and learn about 360-degree video. Lethbridge College recently hosted provincial UCP leader Jason Kenney, giving him the chance to view and learn about a new media phenomenon. While 360 video has continued to become easier to create, there are still roadblocks that the industry faces. Second-year digital communications and media student Keaton Baker has had the opportunity to work with 360 video. He says that there are still some areas that can be improved when it comes to viewing 360 video.
There's like some issues with like some visuals where it's like, I don't know, it's like it kind of like flips around on you and you kind of get dizzy every once in a while.
While there are still some challenges that need to be worked out in this industry, 360-degree video and virtual reality will continue to grow and gain momentum as the technology continues to advance. Right now, the college currently has an innovation suite used to further examine how people react to watching certain videos. There are cameras set up that allow people to view what goes on in the video and how users react to it. Lethbridge College aims to be an industry leader in this area. It's hosting the world's first ever VR conference at the end of April in a bid to show the power of virtual reality.
People don't have to have a huge carbon footprint for their conferences. They can be anywhere in the world and they can hear world-renowned speakers, and it doesn't have to cost that much.
The event will be held on April 26 at the IB building in Lethbridge College.
So what are the biggest roadblocks the industry is still facing?
The biggest roadblock right now is adoption. With the gear being so expensive for people right now, it's not easy for many people to access, but once it becomes cheaper, more people will be able to access it and it will be available for much more.
Thanks, David.
With summer quickly approaching, many students will be looking for a source of income in their months off. According to Student Employment and Professional Development, students looking for summer jobs should prepare for the unexpected, and that targeting a job in your field to get your feet wet is a target that all students should have. Hebert also stressed the importance of trying to find a job early in the semester so that more options are available to them.
Well, it depends when they started. So one of the issues I face with a lot of students is they're just starting to look right now, which is great, but unfortunately you're already a little bit behind the ball. What I always hope for is that students will start looking in September, October, planning for what the next steps are in their career.
Hebert says that having a plan for what kind of job you want will be beneficial to future success.
Lethbridge College's Buchanan Library is putting on an event called Food for Fines, which is an attempt to give students help who are in need. It's a stressful time of year for lots of students, so giving them a little bit of help can go a long way. Sometimes school materials don't get returned on time, and that's where Food for Fines comes in. They also help out students that have overdue fines by encouraging them to help others instead of just giving them money.
The main purpose of Food for Fines is to help fill the shelves of the Student Association's food bank and to help support the students here on campus.
The Buchanan Library has been doing Food for Fines for 15 years and hopes to continue to do so for many years to come. Coming up after the break, we'll get a chance to see two sides of this year's mock disaster. And later, a worldwide squash competition sets down roots in Lethbridge.
I'm bored. What can I do to fill this time in my life? Downtown BRZ events page online to see what's happening in Lethbridge.
Adopting cats was the best decision of my life. This is Rosie, and this is Grey Cat. Wonderful personalities of their own. They provide me with joy and love every day. Rosie here will do anything for a fresh bowl of food. While Grey plays in the yard most of the time, she'd rather be outside than inside. They really get along with my other animals, especially my dog Cody. They don't always get along, but sometimes you just gotta put them together.
Adopt a cat today at the Last Chance Cat Ranch.
Here's your 5-day weather forecast for Southern Alberta, brought to you by Environment Canada. As you can see, Monday through Wednesday, it's supposed to be flurries, but I would just wear a light jacket because it's still supposed to be in the plus as the evenings start to cool off. And then Thursday and Friday, we're supposed to get just mainly cloudy, and then Friday, a high of +5 and brings in the warmer weather for the weekend. So enjoy the time with your friends and family outside as the second week of April is about to roll in.
Thanks, Desiree. Students had the opportunity to not only get hands-on program experience in an exciting new way, but demonstrate what they've learned in the classroom over the last 2 years. Dominique Charles went behind the scenes to look at the 2018 collaborative mock disaster. But first, a warning. Some of the images ahead contained in this story may be disturbing to some viewers.
Students and instructors alike came out in finest form to participate in this year's collaborative mock disaster. Participants from many departments, including EMT, nursing, criminal justice, and digital communications and media, came out to practice practical skills in each of their fields, as well as get a take on hands-on learning and interaction with each of their different perspective fields.
Our work starts in about September, where we start looking at the type of scenario we're going to have. We collaborate with all the disciplines, so that's nursing, EMT, criminal justice, and the DMC program. We start to develop our roles. We start to then talk about what the learning outcomes of all the students are and how we best can support the student learning.
Hamilton believes that this sort of hands-on education is important in practical careers where they don't always know what exactly to expect from each situation. Over 138 students, volunteers, and participants had the opportunity to deal with harsh smells and visuals related to the situation on hand. Some of the things that might have deterred them were multiple incidents of fake blood and things like barfume and elk urine to give as much of a realistic opportunity as possible for all students involved. One participant who played the position of unit clerk during the final stages of the mock disaster in the hospital was Lacey Slomp, an education major at the University of Lethbridge, says that for her, volunteering was more than important because without real-world skills like this, going into a high-stress field could really break someone mentally.
I think it's a really awesome learning opportunity. Real-life scenarios, I think, are awesome opportunities to see how you'll use your skills and everything that you learn in the schooling programs.
Dominic Charles, eNEWS.
This is the biggest mock disaster of the year and the last. Previous scenarios have included another party gone awry, discovery of a hoarder, and a massive collision.
As you just saw, the collaborative mock disaster involves students in a handful of Lethbridge College programs. According to the scenario, 15 people were hospitalized in a party that went terribly wrong. Greg Bobinick was assigned to produce this mock report as though he was handling a real-life tragedy.
Lethbridge Police Mock Service responded to a call on 123 Main Street where a man in a vehicle ran over pedestrians. The EMT and Mock Police Service then realized that the man was fleeing a party where he attacked an individual, leaving them with stab wounds. Jesse Smith was attending the party and said it was hard to take in what was all happening.
Steve, he's stabbed and everyone's passed out and people are freaking out.
The intense night unfolded for what the police say believed to be a drug-fueled rampage.
Well, from the initial interviews of witnesses, there were illicit drugs being used. I believe one of the drugs that was being consumed was fentanyl.
Around 15 people were hospitalized from the incident with injuries ranging from non-life-threatening to life-threatening, as well as drug overdoses. The Lethbridge Police Mock Service is still trying to locate the suspect by the name of Wesson, who was in his mid-20s, brown hair, and was last seen wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans. Anyone who believes to have seen anything or Blake is asked to contact the police and stay away from the suspect, as he could be violent. Greg Bobinick, eNEWS.
Once again, that report was on simulated events to help the EMT, nursing, police, and media students train for real life.
In other news, this week on Campus Horizons, Greg Bobnick had a chance to sit down with student recruitment specialist Greg Goodwin to see how prospective students are being drawn to our college.
Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Campus Horizons. My name is Greg Bobinick. Today I'm joined with Greg Goodwin, the international recruiter for the Lethbridge College. So what is the process of recruiting international students?
Right now, it's a lot of just touch points with international students. A lot of times they'll go directly to admissions because that's kind of the information they're curious about. For recruiting domestic, we obviously go to high schools and we give presentations on programs and services we offer. Sometimes we do one-on-one appointments with students depending on where we're going. There's a plethora of different methods that we use.
Nice. And are there any programs that you guys are pushing for more recruitments on?
Well, we kind of speak on behalf of all the programs. Some program areas will do specific recruitment for their programs. So for instance, engineering right now still has space, so they've been very active recruiting. So we recruit for all of them. We still recruit for all of the programs, even if they're full, just because students want information, so we kind of give them information on everything.
Have you found any programs that have had like a big influx of students coming in?
It changes every year. Kids are trendy, so sometimes they like to, like this year we hear a ton about astrophysics, which didn't happen last year. They just, are influenced by like television and their friends and maybe their siblings that have already gone to school and are working in an industry.
That is all the time we have on Campus Horizons this week. Thank you for joining me, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. One Lethbridge teen is doing her part to break down beauty pageant stereotypes by fighting back against cultural beauty standards. 17-year-old Samantha McKenzie finished second runner-up in the Miss Teen Alberta pageant. As a finalist, she's also been named Miss Teen Lethbridge. The senior from Chinook High School will have the opportunity to represent the city for one full calendar year and will use that time to work with local organizations to support mental health. Mackenzie says for her, the opportunity to do some good is more important than being recognized for her external beauty.
None of the girls are doing this because of beauty. We're all doing it to be able to get either experience with public speaking and all that kind of stuff, or we're doing it because we actually want to make a difference with our platform.
Mackenzie will travel to Toronto this summer to compete in a national pageant. Still ahead, we take a look at the major squash tournament hosted by Lethbridge College. And later, how the college's own Paul Kingsmith has weathered and advanced his storytelling career.
Crime Stoppers and the Lethbridge Police Service need your help in solving multiple incidents of arson. On Saturday, September 30th at around 2 a.m., a dumpster was set on fire near the old courthouse on 4th Avenue South, another shortly afterward behind Kerber Floors on 2nd Avenue South, and a third behind KFC on 3rd Avenue South. Also, a grass fire was started underneath the Crow's Nest Trail overpass on Merrimagrath Drive South. Reports claim that a young man was seen fleeing north from the area of the grass fire. Video surveillance also shows a native or black male wearing a dark sweater and shorts, ball cap, and white shoes leaving the area of one of the dumpsters at 2:10 a.m. If you have any information on this or any crime, please contact Crime Stoppers by any of these methods. Standard message and data rates may apply. Crime Stoppers will pay up to $2,000 for information leading to an arrest. Remember, you will not have to attend court or testify, and you will remain anonymous. We want your information, not your name.
Welcome back. The Lethbridge Squash League hosted a major tournament last weekend with numerous players of various levels facing off against each other on the two courts at the Lethbridge College. The players represented a number of countries around the world. As I found out, the athletes appreciated far more than just the competition. The Scotia McLeod, Charlton, and Hill Squash Pro AM took place last week at the Lethbridge College courts. The tournament consisted of 16 total players from Canada and all around the world competing for the $10,000 US money prize. 23-year-old Shah Jahan Khan was one of the players in the tournament, and he's from Pakistan. Khan says that squash is an activity that allows him to get away from everything.
The first time I hold my racket was when I was 8, and now I'm 23. Since then, I really love the sports. It's just like when I'm on the court, I forget everything, what's happening outside the world.
Calgarian Andrew Schnell was among the athletes in the tournament. Despite being only 2 hours away, Schnell admits that it's bizarre he hadn't been in Lethbridge until this tournament.
It's my first time ever in Lethbridge, which is kind of crazy seeing as I'm from Calgary, and so far it's been really positive. The tournament organizer, Ryan Boersna, has been amazing. He's really looked after us.
The sport of squash originates back to the 1800s in London. Since then, the sport of squash has grown a tremendous amount, and the Summer Olympics Committee is even considering putting them in the 2024 Summer Olympics. Squash consists of two opponents on the court facing off. The goal is to return the ball to the far wall, only let the ball hitting the ground twice before making contact. The last player to successfully hit the far wall wins the point. To win a set, a player must get to 11 points with a lead of at least 2. A squash match is awarded to a player who wins a best of 3 or 5. Khan grew up loving the sport. He feels fortunate to have been able to make a career out of it.
Like the only connection is with me and the ball, just like, and I'm having fun. Like it's kind of fun for me, like, and I really love it. Like I'm doing as a career that I love to do.
The Lethbridge Squash League will continue gameplay all the way to April. There's still an opportunity for people to drop in and get a taste of the sport for a fee of $8 a day.
On this week's Kodiak Report, our own Alex Groger sat down with the social media and marketing lead at the college to chat about the cross-country team 10-4 run coming up and how he believes the event will be a success.
Welcome to this week's Kodiak Report. I'm Alex Grogan. I'm joined today by Jamin Heller. So Jamin, there's a 10-4 run coming up. Can you tell me a little bit about what that entails?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. Kodiak's 10-4 road race coming up on April 7th, kind of the premier fundraiser for our cross-country and track teams. Basically, it's just a good chance to run. It's one of those events. We get about 250 people out. It's a good run. 4 miles, 10 miles. We also added a 1 mile kids race last year, which was a ton of fun. We got Cody out there racing against the kids. So just a really nice day. A nice way to spend a weekend, basically.
And where do the proceeds from that event go towards?
100% of the proceeds go towards the Kodiak's cross-country and track teams. So going to support their program and, of course, scholarships and the expenses of going to all the meets that they do throughout the year. So it's a good way. We get a lot of support from not only the Kodiak space, but also the running community and Runner's Soul. A lot of businesses supporting the event as well, which we couldn't do it without. So it's awesome that way.
So with those proceeds going towards scholarships and things like that, just how important is that for like the city and like people, future students coming here?
It's huge. A lot of the students do require or rely on that financial aid to help them out. It just lets them concentrate a little harder on the athletics side. They don't have to worry about balancing that school life and athletics as well. So yeah, it's just really helpful for all the kids.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Jamin. And that's all the time we have for this week's Kodiak's Report. So thanks for watching.
Thanks, Alex. From the life of broadcast journalism to a position in communications at Lethbridge College, Paul Kingsmith has seen a lot within the industry. His background, however, would not have seen him in the position he is in today. Alex Groger has the story.
The ACAC Player of the Year had an incredible season. He was second in defensive rebounds.
What a journey Lethbridge's own Paul Kingsmith has undergone. Kingsmith first came to Lethbridge to accept a sports reporter's job at Global Lethbridge. Kingsmith got a chance to produce hundreds of stories over his 10 years there, some more memorable than others.
One was about Donahue Lawrence, who's a basketball coach, being an immigrant initially and then having growing up in Toronto, a bad neighborhood in a bad place, and came to Lethbridge and sort of found a new life.
Kingsmith had followed Lawrence for years while he was a member of the U of L Pronghorns basketball team. But it wasn't until years later when Kingsmith got to hear his amazing story.
One day I asked him, why are you still here? And it sort of snowballed into this great story of him telling me about his backstory and telling me about his life.
Since leaving Global Television, Kingsmith has spent the last 2 years working as a communications specialist at Lethbridge College.
And a bit of a career change, but something that I'm passionate about and sort of surprised how passionate about the job I am.
And Kingsmith has made an impression on many co-workers.
You know, he's a guy that you just trust with anything and always good for a laugh around the office. So for office morale, obviously he's just a big part of our team.
After all the successful stories Kingsmith has been able to tell over the years, surely he isn't done. It will be interesting to see what his next chapter brings, his chapter here at the college. I'm Alex Groger, eNEWS.
Kingsmith won a bronze award in the magazine feature writing category this year with the college's Wider Horizons publication. His inspiration came from a colleague here at the college.
A wide range of ages and skill levels come together as the Lethbridge Medieval Club explores the Middle Ages. The group was formed more than 35 years ago and has worked hard to carve out their piece of history ever since. Let's check out how Stephanie Savage took a journey back in time.
The clashing of swords can be heard as a group of history buffs prepare their weapons for battle. The Lethbridge Medieval Club spends their time researching and recreating the arts and skills of medieval Europe. Aidan O'Brien has been honing his skills in medieval combat and armoring since 2005. He says on top of battle training, the club teaches lots of skills that can be used in everyday life.
We've got people in the club that do all sorts of things. We got armor smithing, we've got brewing, we've got weaving, we've got dyeing. There's all sorts of trades that people could learn if they really wanted to.
One member who has immersed herself in the handmade nature of the group is Stacey McIntosh. She has been a part of the local faction for nearly 2 decades. It was the love of medieval fashion that prompted her participation in the club, and she says period clothing is very important in creating an accurate experience for members.
It's not really possible to come in our immersive events not in the proper clothing, because it just bursts that beautiful bubble of that suspension of disbelief.
The Lethbridge Medieval Club was formed in 1981 with just 6 members and has since grown to over 45. One of the longest running members, Chris Fisher, joined the club in 1997. Since that time, he has positioned himself as a leader in the club and a master metalsmith. He says he was inspired to join by the hands-on nature of the club and a love of historical events.
I've always been kind of interested in the Middle Ages. I like learning about history, but I really don't like learning about it from a textbook. So this was an opportunity to actually learn about it by trying it, by actually building stuff and doing it.
For eNEWS, I'm Stephanie Savage.
Every year, the Medieval Club hosts spring camps to give its members the chance to experience a full weekend of old world traditions. No modern technology is used through the weekend, and all members will adhere to strict medieval codes of conduct. The next camp will be held in early May.
And before we go, Easter is on the horizon, and that means a weekend filled with traditions. Ryan Grove talks about some of his own favorite Easter activities.
Hi, I'm Ryan Grove, and as we all know, Easter is just around the corner. So I'm going to share with you guys my top 5 favorite Easter traditions. Number 5, the dinner. Every holiday has its meal, and Easter ham is definitely one of my favorites. You can't go wrong. Number 4, hollow chocolate bunnies. There's absolutely nothing better than waking up on Easter morning and eating an unhealthy amount of chocolate bunnies. Number 3, coloring eggs. One of my favorite family activities is getting together to color Easter eggs, but it's always a mess if someone drops one. Number 2, going on the Easter egg hunt. As a kid, finding Easter eggs around my house was one of my favorite parts of the whole day, and it was a different hunt every single time. Number 1, the infamous Easter Bunny himself. What a weird mascot for the holiday. Why not an Easter chicken? The Easter Bunny hiding eggs around my house never made sense to me as a kid, but let me tell you, my younger siblings absolutely love it. That's my top 5 Easter traditions. You should all make sure you do at least one of them this weekend. I hope you all enjoy your Easter holiday.
Thanks, Ryan. So December, do you have any Easter weekend plans?
Well, you know, it's going to be a little bit of a slow one. My boyfriend's working, so I'm probably just going to stay at home and do some homework. What about you?
I'm going home to see my family, hang out with a few friends, gonna watch some movies, eat lots of chocolate as people do in Easter, but that's about it.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
It is, it will be. Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.